Hello, I'm Peter Marzano, and Gabby Marzano was thankfully sleeping for the nightmare that turned out to be against the Chicago Blackhawks. It all seemed good after they had tied up the series at 3-3, looking to make the historical comeback of coming down from 3-0 and end up winning the series. It all looked like it was destiny, with 18:04 into the third period, Jonathan Toews buries a shorthanded goal, his first goal of the series, to put the Hawks back in the game. But the Hawks received an early power play in the overtime, and during that power play, with a few really good chances, the Hawks could not convert. And with a poor play by Chris Campoli failing to clear it out of the zone, Alexander Burrows was able to come up and bury a shot into the back of the net to put Vancouver into the second round with a matchup against the Nashville Predators. Now, if we look at the season, I can basically sum it up with a couple of things. The first one being Stan Bowman, welcome to the NHL. Stan Bowman made a few poor decisions that maybe we didn't think of much at the time, but have turned out to be very poor decisions. Now, I think the big reason why the Hawks were an 8 seed and didn't win this series, and I can definitely look at the role players around the team last year. If we look at the key role players that impacted this team last year, namely Andrew Ladd and Kris Versteeg, that really helped the team win the cup. They were big components in the playoffs, and they were in the regular season as well. And with those two players on that team, I think that that is a big reason why they won the cup. And with them gone, especially Andrew Ladd, who has gone up to put up great numbers in Atlanta, it brings us at a point where we're all finesse, and we just don't have we didn't have the 4-line balance that we had last year and the year before, for that matter. We're going back to a completely different team that the Hawks were this year, and it's tough to see that the Hawks came this far and lost in the end. But at the same time, I have to look at how far would they have gone if they would have scored on that power play? What would have happened in their series against the San Jose Sharks? And you look at that, and how far would they have gotten? It's a big question that everyone asks. What would have happened if they scored? And at this point, it really doesn't matter. What does matter is that the Chicago Blackhawks definitely had a lot of their chances, and they just couldn't convert. And when you really look at it, it just seems that the Hawks have come to their end as far as really getting a great team on there. Could it be the stretch of new great Chicago hockey, or could it be the stretch of mediocre Chicago hockey? I don't know. It all depends on the decisions that are made this summer, and Stan Bowman has to clear up this team, make sure that he picks up some good, reliable players. Chris Campoli, I think, must be done with this team. I've seen enough of him. He's definitely been a bad mark in this postseason. In all 7 games, he's made a lot of poor plays. I mean, not just him. I could blame all 6 defensemen that played in the series. All of them played poorly. Duncan Keith was not on his A game, excluding Game 5. And Brent Seabrook came back. He was still hurt. And all the other ones, Nicholas Hjalmarsson was not clearing shots the way he usually does. And there are so many X factors, and to think that the Hawks almost got away with winning the series is unimaginable. And I think even though the Canucks ended up winning the series, that can psychologically affect them in their next round against the Nashville Predators. Nashville Predators are extremely confident right now. They just won their first playoff series in franchise history. Now, while the Canucks have home ice advantage, I would not be surprised if the Predators took a game or two up in Vancouver. They're a much better team than they were in years past. I can see them doing a lot of damage. At the same time, Vancouver, President's Trophy winner, had the weakest schedule in the NHL this year, which, I mean, as we saw, they're pretty vulnerable, and the Hawks definitely found a lot of those vulnerabilities throughout the series. I mean, when you look at their division, they were the only team that made the playoffs. When you're playing against the Flames, Wild, Oilers, and Avalanche, 6 times each a year, it can positively impact how you look. So, I mean, as far as the Blackhawks go, they made a series out of it. They made a great series out of it. Probably the best series of the first round so far. I mean, I don't know how Boston and Montreal will turn out, or Pittsburgh or Tampa Bay, but at the same time, the Hawks, they gave a great fight into it, and while it hurts so much to see them, come so close to making history, there's, not trying to sound repetitive, but there is always next year, and next year for success and hopefully better decisions. And don't forget that another team from Chicago had just won their first round series in 5 games, the Bulls. So now since the Hawks are eliminated, you could definitely tune into the Bulls for their second round, and hopefully they get a run at the NBA championship. I definitely see that as a possibility. But for right now, the Chicago Blackhawks are going golfing early this season, and it's going to be different, but at the same time, they have a lot of things to do this offseason. This has been Peter Marzano, and they will be back.